Greetings and welcome to the Fan Perspective. I'm your host Nathan Nall, and this is NBA Weekly, and this was also Finals Week, and there's just been a lot of stuff going on in my life. I haven't been paying as much attention to the league this week, so I'm just going to point out a few of the biggest storylines that I saw when I was paying attention. Was, first of all, turns out I was wrong about Sunday. The afternoon started with a great duel between two elite point guards as Rondo led the Celtics to victory with a triple-double, and then John Wall, he was only a couple rebounds away from a triple-double of his own. And then the very next night the teams met again. They just swapped arenas, and this time it went into double overtime with the Wizards winning by just 1 point. And on that same night, Eric Bledsoe for the Phoenix Suns, he had his first career triple-double. And he led the team in every single category, including 2 blocks, one of which saved the game and sent it into overtime, where Blake Griffin had a season-high 45 points, not in overtime, just like he finished the game with 45 points, just on the entirety. You know what I'm talking about. And those 45 points includes a game-winning three-pointer at the buzzer. Wow. The Golden State Warriors have now won 14 games in a row, while in the Eastern Conference, the Atlanta Hawks have won 9 straight games and surprisingly snuck their way into second place in the Eastern Conference standings, and nobody even notices because no one really pays attention to Atlanta these days. And then the Blazers, they were undefeated against the Eastern Conference until they lost to the Bulls on Friday. And I'm a little surprised that anybody can be undefeated in any respects this far into the season. At the same time, though, it's the Eastern Conference. They basically all suck, except for like the top 5 guys. I mean, if you look at it, all the longest losing streaks in the league have been in the Eastern Conference. The Sixers started 0-17. You had the Knicks, who lost 10 games in a row, and you had the Pistons, who had lost 14 games in a row. Both of those teams, those losing streaks, both came to an end Friday night. Just either way. Also, apparently, All-Star balloting is open, or at least that's what I'm hearing. I don't know. I haven't actually voted yet. I'm planning to. In fact, I'll probably go do it after I record this. But here's my All-Star thing. Like, I know on the All-Star they changed it some time ago, so it's just forwards and guards. You can select anyone. But I'm going to go with my favorite guy in each conference for each position. So starting with center at the West, a lot of the best big men have gone down with injuries. Cousins has missed a couple of weeks, and the Dwight Howard, he's been gone for a while. I don't know what's going on with him. So right now, the one that really stands alone in that category is just Marc Gasol. He's the most dominant center in the league right now, easily. Like I said, just because the 2 best guys that I liked are both out right now. So he's been getting a lot of MVP talk. I feel it's unwarranted because the Grizzlies have the best team in the league. They've got too many good weapons there for you to single out Marc Gasol as the sole reason for their success. That's my own personal opinion, but I just feel like there's just too much going on the team and on that roster for you to easily say that he is the most valuable player in the entire league. No. Then, at power forward, there's a lot of great guys. Like, you got Tim Duncan. He's been regularly getting double-doubles, and he had a triple-double. You've got LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. They're turning into great leaders on their teams. Scoring machines as well as good rebounders. A lot of versatility. There's a lot of people at that power forward position. Serge Ibaka. There's a lot of players who deserve consideration, but as long as he's healthy, Anthony Davis, easily the best in the league, and if they get into the playoffs, easily I think deserves MVP for how well he's leading such a young team. Because as of right now, they're only a 500 team at 11-11, but still in the playoffs at this very moment with that 8th seed. And I don't know, the only reason why they wouldn't miss the playoffs is simply because they are in the best division in the entire league. And then, like, at small forward, there's really not too much of a cut to pick from. It was basically just between 2 people. Off of the top of my head, when I think the small forward position in the Western Conference, first one, Kawhi Leonard, because obviously Spur, And I think, then Chandler Parsons comes to mind. But I think, especially since in the absence of DeMarcus Cousins, Rudy Gay has just stepped up. He's playing on a whole nother level. It's not what the Rudy Gay I'm used to seeing, but it's one that I've always known was capable of existing. He's always had this talent, and he's really getting a chance to show it off now. And then you look at shooting guards, once again, mostly due to injuries. James Harden has really stepped up. The Rockets have been relatively banged up, and yet they're still fighting and scrapping out a lot of wins, mostly just because of how hard Harden has played. And then at point guard, the West is surprisingly stacked at point guard. You've got Tony Parker, Damian Lillard. There's a lot of amazing guards just throughout the West. But the one I'm going to pick is Mike Conley. Why? Because no one else is going to vote for him, which is kind of fucked up because I feel like he's the best all-around guard in the league. For what he does as a leader, both offensively and defensively. He's had a triple-double this year. This guy can do it all, do everything that your team needs him to do, and nobody talks about him. And he's also the reason why I refuse to ever vote for Marc Gasol as MVP, just because you've got so many great, strong playmakers all around on this team. I mean, the Memphis Grizzlies have the best roster in the league, but it's also just no one talks about them, nobody anymore, and so there's just so many underrated players. So the one guy that does get attention gets all of it. Yeah, it bugs me. So moving on to the Eastern Conference, we'll start with centers, and there are a lot of ones that I like Valanciunas, he's underrated, he's not talked about enough. You've got Al Jefferson and Andre Drummond, two guys who are putting up some decent numbers on a regular basis. But unfortunately, even though he's not even a true center, he just plays that position, or at least he's listed at that position, he still plays more like a 4. But the one center who's been easily dominant above the rest in the Eastern Conference, unfortunately, Chris Bosh. And then at power forward, right now he's listed at the center position because of the injury to Joakim Noah. But I'm going to go ahead and put Pau Gasol just because he deserves recognition. He's not getting talked about a lot. But there aren't too many power forwards I like in the league. Yeah, you've got Kevin Love, but he's been inconsistent at times. He's shown flashes of brilliance, but much like what happened with Bosh when James was in Miami, LeBron just overpowers everyone on the roster. And so, for me, I just feel like Powell just kind of stands above all the other contenders, mostly because I can only think of like 3 or 4 power forwards in the Eastern Conference at all, without having to look them up. Then at small forward, obviously, LeBron James, no contest. And at shooting guard, I'm going to go ahead and say Jimmy Butler, mostly just for the same reason as Mike Gasol, because no one else is talking about him. So I'm going to give my boy his props. He deserves it. He's been working hard his whole career. He's an underrated player, and I feel like he's having a breakout season. And then at point guard, once again, Eastern Conference. I mean, the league in general is pretty well stacked at that guard position. The ones that I'm going to go with who stand above the rest, I feel like right now, John Wall and Kyle Lowry. They're two of the best in the East that you can ever find as far as controlling the floor. Though personally, I want to see Michael Carter-Williams in the All-Star game. Okay? MC Dub! Now on to a few games that I'm looking forward to in this week. On Saturday, the only game that I'm interested in seeing is by the time you watch this, it might even be over already. It's because it's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's the Warriors at the Mavs. The Warriors are the hottest team in the league, but that can only last for so long, and especially with Bogut out, the Mavs have a chance to dethrone them if they can control that interior game. Then on Sunday, you've got the Bulls at the Heat. You've got Bosh versus Gasol. It should be an interesting bout. Even better if Noah was playing, and it'll be nice to see Wade's old ass trying to compete against Rose and Butler. And then you've got the Suns at the Thunder. The Thunder are healthy again, fighting back into the playoff races. But one of the teams that they'll have to get past are the Suns, who are constantly on the edge of the playoffs. So I don't really think they're going to get in. But they could. Then Monday, you've got the Bulls at the Hawks. They both currently lead their respective division in a fight for those top playoff spots in the East. They're both in the top 4 right now, so it should be pretty competitive. Then you've got the Spurs at the Blazers. Two of the top veteran power forwards in the league scoring off as Aldridge hopefully faces off against Tim Duncan, but you never know when Popovich will decide to rest somebody. And then you've got two great point guards in this matchup, Parker versus Lillard. There's a lot of little storylines going on. It'll be fun to watch. And then Tuesday, Warriors at Grizzlies in a battle for first place, not only in the Western Conference, but the entire league. These two teams have the two best records in the NBA. And this is their first time meeting head-to-head, so we'll see which one wins out, the splash or the grind. And then on Wednesday, you've got the Hawks at the Cavs. The Cavs dominated them in their last matchup, but that was over a month ago. The Hawks have since fought their way into second place in the East. So let's see if this one's a little more competitive than that last time out. And then you've got the Grizzlies at the Spurs. The defending champs are somehow only fourth in their division. But hopefully they continue showing the dominance over the Grizzlies as they have for the past couple seasons. And then on Thursday, you've got the Thunder at the Warriors. The Thunder are getting healthy again. Almost look like they're back to their old selves. But can they dethrone the Warriors, who currently hold that top spot in the West? It'll be a challenge. Then on Thursday, then on Friday, you've got the Bulls at the Grizzlies. These two are teams built with similar builds. They play relatively the same style of game, honestly. And it's an East versus West battle. You've got Gasol and Zebo versus Gasol and Gibson. You've got Conley going out and handling against Rose and Butler. Or maybe you'll have both of them. Maybe you'll have one of them. You never know with Derek. And then you've also got the Blazers at the Spurs. At this point in time, their records are almost identical right now. And playing twice in the same week, it'll be interesting to see what adjustments have been made. And so that's it for this edition of NBA Weekly. Tune in next week for another all-new episode. But until then, this has been The Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Lau. Have a good week. And also, for those of you who care, which I'm guessing most of you don't, but hey, I also cover the WNBA on this channel. And I just got word that their season is going to be starting in early June. I think it kicks off June 5th. I'm a little upset because I like it when it starts in May because it usually starts right around the same week of my birthday. It's like a little present to me from the WNBA. But whatever, I'm guessing they probably did it so that they don't have to compete with the NBA playoffs because the finals are usually being played around that first week of June, like around June 6th usually. So whatever, that's a thing that happens.